the companies are certainly catching up onto the trend to work from home. It's changing the way we work, especially in marketing and sales. And for most of you, work from home benefits may be the difference between an enjoyable and a stressful work life. While work from home lifestyle brings some great challenges, there are means and ways to enhance the efficiency while working from home and connecting digitally. Today we have with us Mr. Srinivasan, Director and Chief Growth Officer at Hello Leads. He has been helping large organizations and SMEs to streamline sales process and leverage digital selling strategy for revenue growth. Mr. Srinivasan has the expertise in evaluating ideas, identifying the ones that will improve the lead management and build a healthy top of the funnel. He has been helping organizations to digitally connect with their customers by building the awareness around digital communication tools, including improving their digital media presence, which would translate to improved productivity and scale up efficiency for the process perspective. He brings with him 35 plus years of experience in management and finance, working with the business organizations like Oracle and SBI. He will today be sharing his vast experience and walk us through on how we can leverage technology and market and sell digitally while working from home. Before we go on to Mr. Srini, we'll just first start with Mr. Muthuraman, Managing Director of Dexterous Technologies. He'll say a few words and followed with Mr. Srinivasan's presentation. I would like to welcome you all once again. Yeah. Mr. Muthu,
yeah, thank you, sir, for your motivating words. And good morning, everybody. Good morning, Chairman CAI Trichy Zone, Mr. Vasudevan, Vice Chairman Dr. D. Sengatuvan, and the members of CAI participating in this webinar. I would like to thank CAI for enthusiastically organizing this joint webinar with Hello Leads during these challenging lockdown days. Special thanks to Clifford for getting everyone into this Zoom room today. Recently, there was a multiple choice question on WhatsApp. I'm sure many of you would have come across this multiple choice question. It asked, who is driving the digital strategy for your company? Is it the CEO, CIO, or the coronavirus? In fact, coronavirus is pushing all of us to go digital. Social distancing and restrictions on how we operate our business, I'm sure will continue, and we need to move our operations, administrations to digital and to the cloud wherever possible. This includes also marketing and sales operations as well. So in this context, this webinar is very relevant, and we as a team, we are with you in improving your sales processes and in helping how do we take things digital. Now, I would like to invite and request my senior colleague and Chief Growth Officer at Hello Leads, Mr. Srinivasan, to share his thoughts on perfecting the art of stay-at-home selling. Thank you, and over to Srini.
Thank you, Mr. Muthu, and once again, good morning to all the participants. Before I start, a quick check to find out, am I audible? Because all connected virtually, so I'm just trying to ensure that I'm at least somebody's able to hear me. So thank you. I think I saw a few emojis coming up. So thank you so much. Thank you. So before I start, I would like to thank Mr. Vasudevan, Chairman of CAI Trichy, and Dr. Sengatuvan, Vice Chairman of CAI, and Clifford for making this platform available, because these are days when we cannot meet all of you in person. And there's quite a lot of things that we can collectively do together from a digital perspective. Having understood some of the restrictions that we have in place today, I thought this was the right platform to talk to all of you. and maybe also shared some of the learnings that we have gathered over the last couple of weeks in terms of how do we still sell in this kind of a situation. So I'll just bring up the slide deck which I want to present, and just give me 1 second and we'll get started. So are you all able to see the slide deck?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
I'm able to see it.
Okay. So thank you. So let me quickly get started because we roughly have about an hour at our disposal. Many people have asked me, what do you mean by stay at home? So let me start with that before we get into the specifics. All of us have been working at home earlier as well, on certain occasions. Maybe some of you may be working from home, the rest may be in office. But in those situations, how things were easy is there was an infrastructure available in the office. There were people who used to help you with things at the office. Whereas now we are in a situation where we're asked to stay at home, and at the same time, we have to ensure that there is continuity of business and we continue to sell. So we just wanted to call this particular dissemination as the art of stay at home selling. Moving on, I think Mr. Vasudevan has already introduced me, and Mr. Muthu Kumar has also spoken about me, so I'll probably move on to the subsequent slide. So this brings us to the fundamental question, why are we talking about stay-at-home selling? So as you observe, coronavirus has had a massive impact on the industry. It's had an impact on the human behavior. How do we behave? How do we react? Many things that we used to do in the past today are a clear taboo. You can't be doing that. For example, earlier I could walk across and meet customers. I could, go to their offices in person, do whatever it was to take to sell. But then with the current restrictions in place, and with more than 1/3 of the global population under lockdown, we have to still ensure that our selling continues, because that's the revenue line for any organization. End of the day, you need to generate revenue. And in the current circumstance, the only way to probably achieve this is, connect digitally with your customers. And hence the whole, discussion around stay-at-home selling. Now, many public as well as private sector organizations are taking care that their employees need protection. So they have allowed people to work from home. Some organizations where work from home is not an option, they have allowed, the companies have, kind of closed for temporarily a couple of weeks. But then end of the day, we need to keep the show on. And if you look at some of the countries around India and some of the major countries, everybody has gone in for, a major lockdown. There are quarantine measures in place. So in this context, what does it mean to us as in both you, me? So before we get on, I just wanted to give you all the comfort that we are all undergoing the same pain. There is nothing which is very specific to your business, because today the entire economy has come to a grinding halt. It's not a recession. Recession usually, we are able to associate that with a specific timeline, saying, 3 months this recession will be coming out. People will talk, especially economists will talk of a lot of theories saying there could be a V-shaped recovery, there could be L-shaped recovery, there could be, whatever kind of recovery. But here is a case where the whole machinery globally has come to a standstill. If you read some of the IMF reports which are coming recently, it is talking about recession may set in at the end of the second quarter. And that's the message coming in from a body like IMF, because they have been constantly reviewing the economic factors and what is happening around us. Even if you look at the industries, let's take the automobile industry in India or the pharmaceutical industry in India, many of their components have to come from other countries, whatever they are using as their raw material. Now, even if you assume for a moment that some of it was coming from China, which again is going through the same phase, it is kind of affecting each and every industry. I'm not seeing, except a few of them, most of the industries are going through the same issues. And what does it mean to us? Businesses like us, we have to really think about how do we generate revenue to pay salaries and maintain overheads for all our employees, maybe in the month of April and so on. Because end of the day, like I said, the show must go on. So we have to look at how do we still generate revenue and have our sales in the light of whatever is happening around us. And if you look at what has happened to the market, again, one more IMF data which came in just last week, it says the global GDP may be around 1.5% in 2020, as against 2.9% which was there in 2019. So the signs are pretty much coming up from everywhere, and it's in light of this that we thought we should quickly have this communication with all of you through this webinar, just to share some of the practices that we have been finding useful. And some of it you could use based on the the industry in which you're currently working. This is the other question which keeps coming from many people, saying, what if things get worse now? There's no magic clock which will tell you when are we going to come out of this. For example, the social behavior itself. For example, if I had to meet you 2 months back, I would have greeted you and maybe shook hands with you. Now, even if I have to get back into that kind of a mode, I think social behavior itself, it's going to take 6 months. Forget the industry, what is happening there. Even the social behavior, our body language. Next time you go into a shopping mall where there's a lot of crowd, you will probably look for days or look at time when it's slightly less crowded, because the mind still reminds you that there was something which was happening earlier, and that's where we have to be careful. So coming to when is this going to get over? Well, right now it's still anyone's call. No one has the clarity. But this is where I thought we should not stay in the reactive mode. We have to be proactive. We have to look at how we can improve things and take it on from here. I'll just pause and check whether am I audible. I'm just trying to ensure that the lines are clear.
Very clear, very clear.
Audible. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll move on from here. Now, having understood that, yes, stay at home and work from home is something which is now the new normal, as people call it, because anyone who's today kind of working is working from home, except some of those services which have been, categorized as essential. I think the rest of us are pretty much at home. Here are some few tips which I just thought I'll briefly spend a moment before we get on to the other things. Is when you're working at home, please ensure that there's a dedicated space for you. It's sometimes a challenge because the whole family is at home, your parents are at home, your children. So you could have somebody just barging into the place where you're sitting. So I think at some point you should also communicate that, let's say from 10 o'clock in the morning to 12, you would not like to be disturbed, and structure the day as if you were going to work. Put up the list of things that you want to complete today. Whom do you want to connect with? And yes, today technology offers you many ways in which you can stay connected, apart from your laptops and mobiles. I'll also cover subsequently various tools that you could use to stay connected with your teams, because I'm sure most of you must be having a team or strength of maybe some 30 or 50 or 100 people in the sales and marketing group. So you need to be connected. The second thing which you need to do is, this is again pretty much specific to every individual. Pick up what is the most productive time for you. For example, for me, the morning time is the most productive, let's say between 9 to 12. So that's the time when probably I would prefer not to take too many calls. I would probably try to crack something which is complex. And, I would like to spend that part of the day to do things which are going to be really useful and productive for me. And yeah, phone calls I would prefer in the afternoon, because staying at home, your family members take good care of you. You keep getting your frequent helpings of snacks and tea and coffee and sumptuous lunch. So yes, by afternoon, there is a bit of lethargy which sets in. You try to kind of feel a bit, cut off from what you want to do. So try to take these calls in the afternoon so that, it kind of re-energizes you, and you will be able to kind of deliver and improve your efficiency. And the last point, which I also keep trying to do, I have not perfected the art, but please pick up a definitive finishing time, because when you're working from home, there's nothing which is driving you to, shut down your laptop or whatever you're doing, because you don't have to spend that 1 hour or whatever time to reach home. You're already at home. So maybe at 6:37, when you just want to, shut down, you find 3 mails coming in and you feel, okay, why not just take a look at it? So by the time you do all of this, you realize that it's close to 9 o'clock and your family is already screaming, saying, look, why don't you come for dinner? So it will take time before you perfect this. I would request you to make a very earnest attempt. So pick up a definitive finishing time. Maybe it could be 6:30 or 7, whatever time you're comfortable. Sign off and then ensure that after that, you're available at home for your people, and your office is kind of put on a slumber mode at that point. Moving on from here, how do you plan? Because you can't go out, you can't meet customers, you still have some numbers that you want to do, you have some great products. So what I would recommend to all of you, depending on the industry from where you're coming, is do a SWOT analysis. Look at your current customer base and identify who are your key customers. Now, when I say key customers, I'm not saying that the other customers are not important. All your customers are important. But in that, kindly do a SWOT analysis and pick up few key customers. These key customers could be probably, the biggest customer for you from a license perspective, or they could be users of some of your products, which are marquee products in the market, or they could be using this in, industries where it's giving you a lot of visibility. So pick up those customers. And the first thing which I want you to do is call them. I don't think you should straight away write a mail. I think the first thing you should do is call these best customers, find out their welfare, find out how they are doing. What is it that is a problem for them today? Because end of the day, you have to retain your customers. So I would say call them first, find out if all is well, if there's any assistance that you can extend to them. And then after that, probably you could write a mail as well, saying as a backup to the call, we are available 24/7. Our services are available. Although we are all working from home, we are still functioning the same way. So give them the comfort. Next is, we also need to look at how do we add new customers. Now, this is something which is a challenge. And this is where we have to start thinking smartly. Now, I'll share one example of, how things could work out. I was talking recently to one of my friends who is in the transport area. Like basically they are into ticketing and they do the tourism and the flight booking ticketing. Now what he did is, although the flights have been cancelled, he asked all his customers and prospects saying, look, please book your tickets. Any day you want, you can fly. We'll give you open tickets. That's the first thing which he did. The second thing, when I asked him is, okay, what if the flights don't take off at all? What do you do to the money? He said, there is zero cancellation fee. I said, that is fine. But then what if somebody does not want the money, but he wants to keep it with you? He said, those cases, we've opened an account and we've kept the money, saying this money is available with me for 12 months. Whenever you decide next time to fly, please use this account and you can, use that money for booking the tickets. I said, all these three are fine, but still, why should he come to you? He said, over and above this, I gave discounts. So the point I'm trying to make is, discounts is given today. I think in whatever industry you are, in this period when there's the entire lockdown, you will have to ensure that you're not still selling at your list price. I don't think you will really be able to gather customers if you're selling at your list price. So you have to look at ways and means. And like I told you, maybe this one example which I gave you was a way of how you could be looking at new customers. The second point which I wanted to add, if you want to add new customers, is assuming that you've spoken to him and he's asked you for a mail. Typically in the mail, what we do is we attach brochures and whatever we want to do in terms of giving him the information. What I would recommend that you additionally do is, as part of your signature, when you're ending your mail, please attach some videos of your products, or please attach some testimonials which existing customers have given, saying, this is how the product has been useful, or this is how I've been getting good service from this organization. So please take those 10-15 minutes extra, get your marketing team to create some good, sleek videos, which, like I said, could be customer testimonials or case studies. Put that as part of your signature. I think today what we do as part of our signature is we just add our designation, our telephone numbers, maybe our mobile numbers and stuff like that. But I think where we need to now slightly think and act differently during these days is also empower the reader with more information. So I would strongly recommend, when you're trying to get to new customers, please add some good stuff towards the end after your signature and stuff like that. Cross-selling, I think I don't have to spend too much of time. This is something which has been going on for quite a while. What I would probably recommend as things that you could experiment depending on your industry is, from a cross-selling perspective, if you already have a customer who's using product A, maybe you can offer product B at no cost for 2 months to him. That's the best way for him to start using and learning about the product. So you will have to look at how can you interest him, how can you give him more information so that he, at the end of the day, decides that yes, this product is good for me. So you'll have to think, depending on the industry, saying what is it that you can offer to him. And the last thing which I want to say when it comes to cross-selling is, also try to see if you can extend your subscription. If you're a SaaS-based company and you're offering something on a monthly subscription fee, maybe offer him 2 years subscription at the same price as a 1 year subscription. Or maybe look at how you can retain the customer, because you also need your cash flows, right? You need money to come in. So you can probably try to see if you want to give 2 year subscription today at probably 1 year subscription, so that he also gets interested, he signs up with you, and you also have some revenue flows. Moving on, I think this is a fundamental question. So many of the friends whom I keep speaking to, they keep asking me, Srini, whatever you're saying is fine, but why do you think someone will buy in this situation when there's a lockdown? So I just have a couple of points here just to share with you. See, today somebody will buy from you only if it's a necessity. Okay, let's get down to something very basic. I think we all need, let's say, a toothpaste. Now it's a necessity. So whether it's a lockdown or there's a curfew outside, these are things that you need. So ensure that your product is a necessity for the customer. And how do you do that? You have to have that stickiness with the customer. You will have to ensure that you are available for him and your service levels are good, your response time are good. When you have all of these things, he's definitely going to be sticky. The stickiness will come, and he will, out of necessity, come back to you and ask you for more products. There are some people for whom their interests are important, and that takes over priority over the necessity. How do you generate interest? That's again a fundamental question. And this is where I'm saying your marketing content creation has to be absolutely at the best level. You have to create as many videos as possible, as many brochures as possible, whatever it takes to get his mind thinking into, should I buy this product or not? So that interest generation has to happen now. And this is the best time for you to do that, because most of your prospects today, like you and me, are sitting at home. What are they doing? They're also on the social media. They're also looking at digital ways of learning something, maybe buying something. So this is the time for you to generate that interest. So push as many collaterals that you can. And of course, the quality of the collaterals has to be top class, because people don't want to see anything very ordinary. So ensure that your videos and your contents are of a very high quality, and you will find that the interest levels are definitely increasing with some of these marketing avenues that I just discussed. Third one is something like pure selling, and here I would like to give you an example which I came across very recently. Of course, you can look at your industry and your business, and what is it that you can look at as what is competition doing. Take Zomato as an example. They were earlier into delivering food to people. Now what Zomato is doing is they have got into groceries. They're delivering groceries. What did it take? They had to just slightly tweak their business model. They had their infrastructure, they had their people working, they had people going on motorbikes. But now what they're doing is they're delivering groceries. And I was reading that it's doing phenomenally well. And that's the change that they have brought about. And with that, they've just started selling. They're back into business and they're doing well. What you have to basically do is look at industries which you have not gotten so far, where you don't have customers. You should target those industries, make specific collaterals which address the problems that the current industry is facing. And then you have to then ensure that you're reaching out to them, have virtual meetings, send out these collaterals that you're preparing. And I'm sure you will also find that over a period of time, you will start getting customers from new geographies that you didn't get into. you start getting customers from new industries that you haven't explored so far. Moving on from here, I did mention about creating awareness. So again, the next question is, how do you create an awareness? What do I do? So videos is something which I briefly described. So it could be videos about how your product works, or it could be about some servicing which you do, which the customer can do it on his own. So think of some videos that you could quickly churn up, and this is the right time to do that. Videos could also be something like a customer testimonial. Somebody comes and says, look, I bought this product, it was great. This is the problem that it's trying to solve. So from your industry perspective, think of what are the videos that you could create and then send it across, because digitally today you can reach any part of the globe. So there is no restriction in terms of sending this video only to, let's say, your customers in Tamil Nadu or something like that. You can send it across. Maybe you should also look at conducting webinars where you can share your best practices, and you'll also get to interact with a lot of people across the industry. And many may not even know that you have a product and you're able to, help people during such times when physically meeting a person is difficult. There's no face-to-face meetings. So have webinars which probably help people to understand how they can improve from where they are. Content creation, I think, is very fundamental to any marketing role. Your contents have to be absolutely perfect. They have to be current, and they have to be neat and clean. It's only then that you will get the eyeballs rolling. So ensure that your content creation is, absolutely of high quality. Look at where are you from a social media perspective. Look at LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, wherever. So depending on your product, pick up which media presence will help you, and then ensure that you're putting up enough and more stuff out there so that people are able to look at it. And like I mentioned earlier, everybody today is on the internet because they cannot go out, they cannot go to a shopping mall and buy something from there. So whatever you serve today will be relished by your customers. So ensure that you build up your social media presence. So end of the day, if I have to summarize this, what are we trying to do? We are trying to build the branding of your company, the branding of your products. And in the sales parlance, this is called, increasing the tofu. Tofu is nothing but the top of the funnel. Now, only when you have interest generation, can you then slowly bring them in, give them the collaterals, and then slowly convert them into customers. So basically, these are prospects. So the top of the funnel, you have to increase. If you have a good number of people in the top of the funnel, then at least 20-30% of them you can convert into customers over a period of a time by giving them all the collaterals that we just spoke about. Moving on, again, fundamental question is, look, there's no revenue. Why should I spend? So many people tend to look at marketing as a non-essential expenditure. So I keep telling them, look, if you don't do marketing, it's looking at someone in the dark. You know that you're winking, but the other person is, he or she doesn't see that because it's absolutely pitch dark outside. So you need to create that awareness. And for that, marketing is essential. And this is the time probably you need to spend a little bit more on the marketing, because as and when we come out of this pandemic, which has hit the whole industry, you won't have time then to create all these marketing contents. This is the right time for you. And you can also reach it to many more people because everybody today is on the net. So please do ensure that there is something happening from a marketing perspective in your respective lines of business. Moving on, how do you sell staying at home? So I think the first and foremost thing which I would say is communication. Like I said earlier, you have to communicate to everybody. It could be your customers, it could be your employees, because even your employees today are looking for guidance. They are also lost. They are not used to this kind of a situation where everything is shut down. You're just sitting in front of your laptop. There is no one who's giving you instructions, or you cannot walk up to someone and ask, hey, can you tell me how to do this? So when it comes to communication, for example, we are using Slack in our organization. Slack is being used for internal communication. When it comes to a company-wide communication that we want to use, we want to send, we are using WhatsApp for the company-wide information. And when we want to communicate with the customers, we are using Zoom. So please go back to your respective workplaces, atmosphere, and then think of what are those things that you will do typically when you were in office, and how would you enable that when you're at home? So So pick up some of these gadgets. Apart from this, you have Google Handouts, you have Asana. There are many such tools which are available. They can even do your project monitoring and team meetings. So take a look at that, but communication is important. And yeah, virtual face-to-face meetings is the way you're going to meet and greet your customers today. Like how we are all today looking at each other and talking to each other. It's only because of a Zoom conference. So ensure that you have these tools with you and you're able to communicate and have your face-to-face meetings, because physically you can't go out. There is an absolute taboo. You can't go out. Some of you may be lucky if you're able to manage to go out and meet your customer, but 9 out of 10 times you'll get stuck, and it would be advisable not to do that. The next most important thing is plan your day, like how you would normally do if you were to go to work. So if you're habitual of getting up at 6 o'clock, please do that. Don't think that because you don't have to go to work, you can get up at 8 or 9. Ensure that you get up at 6, complete your morning chores, have your breakfast, you read your newspapers, whatever you want, but be available by 9. Be available to your customers as well as your employees. So ensure that you are at your desk by 9, and you're there with your phones and your network and your mails, and you're ready to start the day. Once you're ready to start the day, I have been following the next one, which is the 3 lists of 3, which I thought will be useful for me to share with all of you. Now, many of you may want to know what is this 3 lists of 3. So what I do is I create 3 lists in the morning. Now, just to give more clarity, let me call it list A, list B, and list C. Now, having created these 3 lists, what I do is in the first list, which is list A, I list down 3 things which I must complete today. So list A has 3 things of what I must complete today. List B will have again 3 things which I might want to do today. I might want to complete depending on availability of time. List C is 3 things which I want to do maybe tomorrow, day after, and in the next 2-3 days. So when I have this clarity, at the end of the day, how do I measure myself? Have I completed everything in list A? Because those 3 are must do today. It has to happen, come what may. And yeah, if I've done it, I've completed, then I can move to list B. And then usually you won't have time to look at list C, but every day in the morning, it's better to refresh these lists, and that will help you to kind of prioritize your work. The next important thing I just thought I'll quickly share, which is a very interesting way to be at work, is it's called the Pomodoro technique. Now, if you look at any research report, it says that the maximum you can focus at any given point of time when you're working from home is maximum of 2 hours is what you can, sit at a stretch. After 2 hours, your mind tends to deviate. You want to maybe get up, go have some coffee. So what Pomodoro technique does is, well, Pomodoro is an Italian word, and in the Italian language, it means a tomato. So the inventor, Francisco Cirillo, way back in 1980, had a tomato-shaped watch, a clock, which he had set as an alarm when he was studying. Later, he perfected that and brought it into the work environment, where he said, your 2-hour stretch that you can focus, break it into 4 sections of 30 minutes each. In each of these 30 minutes, assign one activity that you want to complete. And you have to have just 25 minutes to complete that assignment. Once you complete it in 25 minutes, 5 minutes you take a break. These breaks are called the Pomodoro breaks. So over a period of 2 hours, you would have gone through 4 assignments, each of 25 minutes each, with a 5-minute Pomodoro break. And at the end of the second hour, he says, get up, go outside, breathe some fresh air, meet your people, maybe have a hot cup of coffee or tea, and then come back, and then you're ready for the next 2 hours of doing your work. So I would recommend that you should also look at this, because today people are looking up to you for leadership. People are looking up to you for guidance. So you need to be focused in what you're doing. You need to set your priorities. You need to set your team's priorities. And this is a time you shouldn't react. You have to be supportive. People may come with you with a lot of questions, but please take it easily and guide them, and try to give them direction, because eventually what are we doing? We're preparing for Freedom Day. Now many people may ask, what is Freedom Day? Freedom Day is it's what has been coined globally as the day when we will be free from coronavirus. that's the day when we'll be ready to go back physically to our workplace, to our office, to our factory, to our workshop, wherever it is. So whatever you're doing now, be it creating those marketing collaterals or creating that customer awareness or planning what you want to complete, all of this is preparing you to go to Freedom Day. Because once Freedom Day comes, it's going to be again pandemonium. Pandemonium because everybody is on the street, everybody is trying to fix appointments, everybody wants to start pushing their sales. But if you had done these things now during this period, you will be absolutely prepared, to start business and maybe book new business when the Freedom Day arrives. Moving on, how to generate leads. I think some of these points we've already discussed. For example, social media, we have said, I had covered earlier saying, look at LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is you need to post your marketing collaterals. Blogs is something which you can definitely, this is the right time for you to write blogs. Webinars, we have spoken briefly. Website, website, ensure that you have, chat available so that whoever is coming now when, your offices are closed and if he leaves a question for you, there could be a chat which says that, okay, we'll respond to you within 24 hours, or it'll probably give you an email ID of, whom you could write to. So if you don't have that, please ensure that you do keep one on your website. Email marketing is probably as old as all of us, so there isn't nothing much there. But yeah, something which I picked up very recently, which I also have been doing, is if you write a mail to a customer and if the customer doesn't respond to you, in the second mail, put his name on the subject saying, look, Mr. Krishna, did you have time to go through my mail? So what happens is, I think every person wants to see himself and be heard about himself. So the moment somebody sees their name coming up in the subject, they tend to open that and read it. So these are some hacks that I have tried. I'm sure many of you would have tried many more. So do take a look at that. Content creation is again something which I have already discussed at length. They have to be absolutely, of high standards. SEO, I'm sure most of you are doing. Videos, again, I think I've spoken earlier as well. Videos could be your customer testimonials or how your product works or how you've been able to successfully help someone. So ensure that you are looking at all of this proactively, because if you do not generate leads, which is again your top of the funnel, you will have very few conversions as customers. No one becomes a customer in 30 minutes. It's a time taken to build the awareness, get the interest. So initially the prospect will be interested in a product, but for him to be a sales ready prospect, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the industry. And after that, he signs up and he becomes your customer. So please ensure that, you have, this is the time for you to focus and ensure that you are generating leads for your products or your business, depending on your industry. One more quick check to just check if I'm audible and, you're able to hear me. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are.
Yeah, thank you. So
Yes,
moving
sir,
on.
you are right.
Yeah, thank you, Muthu. So moving on, the next fundamental thing. Now this is something interesting. I ran a response with some of our prospects and customers more than 3 to 6 months back to find out how are they managing leads today. And it so turned out that just about close to 30% of the customers only maintain a CRM and have a lead management software. Now the question is, what were the others doing? So close to 25% of them were maintaining it on a spreadsheet. Saying if somebody calls today and says, I want this product, somebody would note it down in an Excel sheet, record the telephone number, put down the email ID, the product in which they're interested. And then after 2-3 days, somebody else will pick that up and, they used to then respond to the prospect with the information. About 20% of the people were maintaining all of this on their telephone and on WhatsApp, saying somebody had called and then, you scribble it down somewhere. In fact, what you'll be surprised is majority of them at least had this habit of noting it down on a piece of paper, or they didn't have any tool. There was no automation at all. Now, this is pretty much fundamental to any industry who is in the business of selling. Because if you don't respond to your lead immediately, he is going to walk away to competition. He's not going to wait for 3 days or 4th day or the 5th day. If he has asked you something today, maximum you should be able to respond to him in a few hours time. Now, based on the survey, I can tell you that it was only 10% of the customers and prospects who were responding within 30 minutes. Majority of them, close to 50%, were responding within 3 days and beyond. They were even taking 6 days and 7 days. So put yourself in the shoes of a customer and you will realize that you need something, and that's why you have gone to a person. Now, if the person doesn't respond, you will definitely look to some other avenue to buy that product. So my request to you is whenever you again have time to discuss amongst your team or with your sales team and marketing team, please ensure what is the process they follow today for managing leads. And this is fundamental, because if you don't have leads, you're not going to have customers. Unless, of course, you're in a business where a customer is just buying repeat things from you, but you're not able to get new customers into your books. And that is something very important if you want to grow your business. Moving on, let's look at the facts, saying why are we really talking about all of this today? Everybody, like I mentioned, is today, at least the majority of them are at home because they're not able to go to work and they're browsing internet. And yes, they are buying. There's a lot of sales which are happening. Next time it could be you, if you really follow some of those things which we just discussed in terms of creating that awareness, creating all those marketing collaterals, some very good videos, some brochures and stuff like that. And if your office is closed, I think you should prepare for Freedom Day. Ensure that you have everything it takes to build that appetite amongst your prospects to say that, okay, I have understood the product, it's a necessity for me. And that's when he decides to come and negotiate the commercial terms with you and he becomes your customer. So be prepared for your Freedom Day. And I don't think the day is far. And when it comes, we should not be found wanting. So please use this time to set the platform so that you can then take off from there. Moving on, I think the other thing which I want all of you to take back as a message to your respective teams is this is a time for you to skill up. Because today, if you're not digitally ready to address the customer's requirements, whatever it may be, then I think you're out of business. Right now, everybody is kind of looking at selling things digitally. People are connecting through Zoom, through Skype, through Hangout, whatever it takes to connect with the customers. You have a lot of digital tools which are available, which can give you high quality contents that you want to make. It actually creates that whole virtual atmosphere. For example, just imagine what we are all doing today. About 25, 30 of us are not physically in the same room, but we're able to see each other, we're able to talk with each other, we're able to exchange notes. And that's the benefit that technology provides. So I would say use this time for edutainment. Like there is some bit of education that you have, it's some fun, some entertainment, but at the end of the day, you have to skill up, because if you are not digitally tuned in, or if your team is not digitally tuned in, then you are going to be left behind when the Freedom Day arrives. Now, what exactly do you want to skill up? So one is, like I told you, I'm again talking from a sales perspective, and it applies to every industry, because anyone who is looking at increasing the revenue has to have a good lead management tool. So look at good digital lead management tools which are available in the market. Like I said, people have the habit of maintaining the leads all over the place. It's on your phone, it's on your notepad, it's on your Excel sheet. So ensure that you have a centralized place to store all the leads, so that it's easy for you to track and give the access to your whole team, so that they can all collaborate and you can assign leads in terms of following it up. So you're kind of, although you're sitting at home, you're standardizing the whole sales rigor, because everybody is following the same process. Unlike earlier times, when people were in office and they would pick up a customer that they thought was important and they would run behind them. Here, you can define the day for them. You can assign the leads depending on the locality to your sales rep, again sitting at home. And yeah, the ease of communication that some of these tools offer, because lead management tools also have WhatsApp communication. You can send mails to them, you can send SMS. So it makes the communication all the more easier. And in light of this, probably I'll just spend a minute to talk about Hello Leads, which is the lead management solution which we are offering to our customers. It's again a simple lead management solution. It's on the cloud, it's on Amazon Cloud. We support all the flavors. It works on the mobile, Android, iOS, and it works on the web as well. And it ensures that your response time to leads is pretty much fast. And if you respond quickly to your prospects, it is going to reflect in your sales conversion. So it also pretty much speeds up your sales conversion. Yeah, so the other key point which probably we have tried to address, which is useful for any industries, we have ensured that all your leads are automatically stored in a single place. The whole process is automated. For example, we have integration with Facebook. So if you're running a campaign on Facebook, whoever is registering there, immediately it comes and sits as a lead within your lead management system, which is Hello Leads. Your phone contacts could again immediately at the click of a button become leads for you in your lead management system. And we have a beautiful functionality for business card scanner. For example, as and when we happen to go and meet people in person, somebody could give you a visiting card and say that, look, I'm interested in buying your product. So all you have to do is scan the business card. Immediately the details get added as a lead, and then we have automatic emails which go to that customer. So I have seen many instances where I've met a person, I've taken his card, and within 2 minutes he comes running back to me saying, Srini, I just met you now, but I already have your mail. So I tell him, look, that's the efficiency of having a lead management solution, because the response is within less than 2 minutes. We also have website integration. So I'm sure most of you will have websites where there's an inquiry form where somebody comes and leaves an inquiry. So once that gets registered, immediately it gets recorded here within Hello Leads, and again a mail goes out. We also have Excel upload, which is for people who have not used any digital technology so far, but they want to embrace digital technologies. We help them to import leads from Excel sheet into Hello Leads so that it's all stored in a single place. You may receive calls on your phone saying that, look, I want your product, I'm interested in A, B, C. So even these phone calls, you can save them directly as leads within Hello Leads, and within 2 minutes, again, that automatic email goes to them saying, thanks for calling. These are my products, this is my website, and can we have a chat 3 hours from now? So you can have those automated mails which can go out. Apart from that, we have APIs. So APIs basically is used to talk to external third-party system. Suppose you already have a huge MIS application that you're using, you can use Hello Leads for your lead management and conversion. And at the end of the day, it could funnel all the leads who have converted into customers into your other system. So we have APIs with which you could talk to any third-party system that you're currently using. So basically, this helps you to keep all the leads in one place. You can assign your leads, and the whole process of connecting back with the prospect is less than 2 minutes is what it takes. Moving on, like I told you, again, some bit of it is already here. You can send your automatic emails to the customers. You can share your digital business card. The moment somebody gets added as a lead within Hello Leads, there's a digital business card which goes to the customer. You can even send a WhatsApp using Hello Leads. Today, how do we send WhatsApp? If I have to send a WhatsApp to, let's say, Mr. Vasudevan, I have to save Mr. Vasudevan's name in my contacts, and only then I can send a WhatsApp to him. Whereas in Hello Leads, if Mr. Vasudevan is already stored as a lead, then I can use the Hello Leads icon. I think you can see it on the screen. So through this icon, I can send a WhatsApp message to Mr. Vasudevan. Similarly, I can send SMSs, I can send emails as well. I can call customers using the same application. I can also generate invoices and estimates. Now, this is something great. Assuming that you are in the marketplace or you're not at your desk physically, and somebody calls you and says, look, can you help me with an invoice? I'm interested in buying it right now. So through Hello Leads, you can quickly, create that invoice and you can share it with them. Moving on, this is again more about how your sales team can use Hello Leads equally, because every lead has a status in terms of tracking, saying what is the potential, how important is the lead, and so on. So you can, real-time basis, you can check what is the status of each lead. Your sales rep will be kind of posting the statuses of the lead. So you can track that and you can call up your sales rep and say, look, can you do this and can you do that? So the lead status tracking becomes online. It's pretty much real time. You can look at what your team has been doing. For example, if you have assigned a particular lead for follow-up, saying go and meet him or go and send him a collateral, once the sales rep has completed, he will post the activity. So you can even know in real-time basis saying what is he doing. So basically the whole team collaboration is taken care. You can, set small targets for your team saying what should they do, and it'll kind of make things simple, especially now when you're all sitting at home and you're not physically in your office. I think you should try to take a look at how, Hello Leads can help you as well. Moving on, these are some broad features. I'll just keep it very brief. So it helps you to capture all the leads. I told you about the various ways in which, we can capture leads from the mobile, from business cards, from Facebook ads. You can import it from a file. Your web inquiries come and sit inside. You can qualify leads depending on his interest, his customer group, what is the potential, high, medium, low. You can assign a potential. You can put the deal size also, because it can give you a sense of how important the customer is. You can even set up follow-up. You can put a setup saying, I need to talk to Mr. Muthu at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So it'll give you an alarm, the next day, 10, 15 minutes before the appointment, it gives you an alarm saying you need to speak to Mr. Muthu. It maintains the whole activity, and it's recursive. So which means if you have not done it today, you can again move it by a week, by a month, or whatever. So the reminders keep coming in. It empowers your whole team, because you can assign roles for your team, you can assign leads for follow-up, and they can also see their weekly report saying how are they performing. So whatever you were doing in office is all available on your mobile. Sitting at home, you're able to do all those activities that you were doing. It also includes engaging your customers. You could easily connect with your customers. Like I said, you can use WhatsApp. You can send your invoices to the customers. There's an automatic email which goes as a greeting, and you can also use Hello email, which is the bulk emailing capability that we have. For example, if you're launching a product now and you want to send mass communication to all your existing customers, you just have to create one format and shoot it through Hello Lead. So it's going to go to all your customers. In addition to that, we also provide a lot of MIS in terms of how your products are faring, how your sales reps are faring. How are they faring by every day? How are they faring by every week, by every month? So that slice and dice is possible. So once you key in the parameters that you want to measure, it can give you all the MIS that you want. This is briefly about how Hello Leads has been assisting us as well as many of our customers in trying to improve their business, especially in such days when physical face-to-face meetings are not a possibility. At this, I just want to,
There are 2 questions. Do you want to pause for a minute and take them now?
I think after this slide, we are open for questions.
Sure.
We'll take those questions. So just to summarize, I think work from home is the new normal. It could be 2 months, it could be 3 months, it could be 6 months. We really don't know, but we need to be prepared. And I think if we don't ourselves ready in terms of being digitally tuned in to address customers' requirements, being digitally tuned in to connect with our own employees, I think we are going to be left out in the whole race. So we'll have to be prepared for that. And like I said, please don't look at marketing as a non-essential expenditure. This is the time for you to ensure that you prepare some good collaterals, create that awareness, because if you don't create that awareness, you're not going to get prospects. And if you don't get prospects, you can't convert them into customers. Yes, since everybody is working from home, the only way you can connect with a person is digitally. So the media consumption is going to increase. Take a look at all those communication tools that we discussed. And in case you're using some of them, good. In case you're not using it, I would strongly recommend that you take a look and adopt some of the tools which will help improve the efficiency of communicating, because that is fundamental today when you're not able to meet people face to face. E-commerce is the way to go, and there couldn't be a more appropriate time for digital selling. I think this is the time when you should take a look at it, and I'm sure you will find the results kicking in slowly over a period of time. I think at this point I'll pause because I'm pretty much at the end of what I wanted to share, and it's close to an hour. So happy to take questions.
Srini, there is a question from Mr. Saranjeevi Krishnan
Yes.
in the chat box, wherein he's asking, is India already digitally ready, especially the businesses existing in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities?
Yeah, so thank you, sir, for the question. I think I would also like to know which industry are you from, because today tier 2, tier 3 is the focus place. In fact, if you observe, many companies are shifting from major cities to tier 2, tier 3 cities for multiple reasons. It could be, the economies of running a business. It could be, the sheer issue of traffic, people, communication, a lot of challenges today in the bigger cities. So many people are shifting to smaller tier 2, tier 3 cities. And there are a lot of initiatives in place to ensure that digital. Hello? Did I have a question or something? Hello? I think Clifford, I think Clifford, you can go on mute if you don't mind. Sorry. Yeah, so what I was saying, sir, is tier 2, tier 3 is the happening place now. Today we are all sitting here in Trichy. Maybe some of you are in different locations, but we are able to connect. So yes, digitally, the infrastructure. When will it be at par with the metro? Well, there is some journey, but to answer your question, yes, we are there, and this is the right time to get in. Usually, it's very difficult to climb a fully grown tree, right? So I'm saying right now, tier 2, tier 3 cities are the happening places. There are small, shoots which are coming out. This is the time for us to be there, and I'm sure over a period of time, you and your business will see the benefits of this.
Yeah, just to add to Srini, whatever we have seen as a part of our research, I think Indian, small and medium businesses, especially, they are also embracing technology. They are also using, many tools that are in the market. So in that way, I think, we are also catching up with the counterparts in other developed countries such as USA or Europe. So I think India is getting digitally ready. There are a lot of enthusiasm, and even businesses in tier 2 and tier 3 cities are embracing these tools and technology based on our own experience. Yeah, Srini, going to the next question, Mr. Sendil Kumar is asking how to manage the high competition in digital market and create demand for our products. So how do we manage high competition in digital market?
Sure, sir. Sir, which industry are you from, sir? Hello?
I think he may be
in hotel industry.
Hotel.
Okay, I think like there's no straight jacket formula. Let me be very frank, because everything is specific to the industry. Now for you, probably in the hotel industry, one way where you can really create awareness is you can have most of your offerings available online, where people can book and consume, or rather they can place their orders online. I'm coming more from the hotel and from the hotel industry perspective, because if you look at the likes of Zomato and the other people who have really succeeded so far, and many of them are there, I think there is competition, but there's enough room for all of us. Let me be very frank. The size of the cake is so big that just one or two competitors cannot take it away. For example, the space in which we are playing, it's basically small and medium enterprises. So there are those big corporations and there is a big industry. So I think first, what I would recommend, which is a guidance for all of you, is pick up which is your niche area. Let's not shoot, across in the dark. Let's first identify what is my target market. So like in Mr. Senthil's case, if it is hotel, fine. Are you in a tier 2, tier 3? What kind of typical customers come to you? So I think you have to define your customer profile. You have to look at the market segment that you are trying to address. And once you have done these two things, then I think the competition that you're talking about, or the high competition, that's there in its place. You're not competing with, let's say, a Windsor Manor or something, right? So I'm saying two things. Find out who is your customer, who is your target audience, and then make a pitch of how you want to digitally reach and connect with them. And I'm sure you'll find the journey much more happier, and you will start seeing results, Mr. Senthil.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, Srini, there is a question from Gopinath Kumaran, who is asking, how can we use it for jewelry industry?
Okay, I think I would say that answer is pretty much simple. I think as Indians, we all have a passion for jewelry, right? I don't think there is any household in India which says no to jewelry. I think probably the way we buy vegetables, some of us, many families may be looking at jewelry as something which is a must-have. I think you should encash on this, and today there are multiple ways in which you can digitally connect. Especially now when customers cannot come physically, I think you should send out some videos to your customers. First, again, like I said, go back and find out who are your target customers. Whom is it that you want to get into your books? Once you've done the homework, you have to then create that awareness. And how does it come? By creating some good quality stuff from a marketing perspective. It could be either a brochure, or it could be a video, or maybe some new designs which have come up in the market. You could just share it with them, digitally. And that's the best way, I think, for you. And for you, sir, I would say the chances of succeeding are much higher, because like I said, jewelry is something which is passionate to everyone. Indian families, yes. So this is the right time for you to really take on the digital way of reaching out to your customers. And I'm sure you will find that you will get new customers and your business will look much better than what it is now.
Yeah. So thank you, Srini. And there is a next question
Thank you, sir.
from
Thank you.
Madhavan Annamalai, who is giving a feedback also saying that it was really a good learning. Any specific ideas for healthcare and hospitals?
Okay, healthcare and hospitals, I think there's a lot of things happening. At least whatever little reading I'm doing, today most of the consultations are happening online. I think things have improved a lot. And I'm sure it's a question of time before it comes even in places in the smaller cities as well, where today probably your consultations are not happening face to face. You could contact your doctor, and it's really virtually you're meeting the doctor. So I think for hospitals and the business that you just mentioned, I think it's much more simpler, because today everybody needs medical attention. Let's accept it. Infrastructure may not be so good that every street may have a hospital. So yes, there will be people who will be looking out for you. I think if you have a website, sir, my request to you is ensure that there's a good inquiry form on your website, so that people can come and leave their questions. And then in terms of bandwidth, you may not be able to respond to all of them immediately, but at least you will know who all need attention. Please do call them. And like I said, if you have something like a Zoom or something where you can have you could even see the patient, sitting in your home, sitting at home on your laptop. Ask him the symptoms, because half the thing gets solved when the person talks to a doctor. Like I can tell you, my parents, the moment they see a doctor, they feel, relieved, because they feel they've come to the right place. So when you get into this virtual way of, connecting with your patient, he will definitely feel happy to see you. That will solve half the problem. And then with your medication, I'm sure he will feel better. I think you should explore ways of, virtually trying to connect with people who are coming to you for medical advice. That is my suggestion, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Srini. There are some more questions. One is from Kabir Ahmad on how can this be used in heavy fabrication industries? And there is a next question from Prakash on what is the appropriate investment for a CRM tool? And Mr. Gopinath Kumaran is asking what is the level of data? What is the level of data? Will it be safe when we use CRM at the current situation?
So since there are three questions, I'll start from the last one because I'm just hoping to remember all the three questions. So let me start with Mr. Gopinath's question. I think safety of data is fundamental to any business. Okay. Now, whether you keep it in a book in your office, whether you keep it on your laptop, or whether you're using a CRM system, safety is the prime concern. Now, even if I have to take care of my assets, I will always have this question saying, is my data safe? Is my data secure? So in the cloud-based business, that is in a SaaS model, the data is encrypted. Forget the customers, even we cannot see the data. And there are always backups available with which, if there is an emergency, retrieval of data is very easy. So to answer your question, data security is of prime importance. There can be no compromise. And yes, most of the CRMs ensure that there is adequate protection being given to the data. I think the next question I remember was around how are these priced or something, right? How are these?
What is the appropriate investment for a CRM tool?
So sir, my point is very simple. Let me ask you a question. If you were to buy a car, I can show you a car which is available for 1 lakh. There is a car, if you take something like a Mercedes-Benz, it could cost you 50 lakhs or whatever, much more than that. So I think you should evaluate a CRM which suits your business. So I think what I would want you to do is go back and see what is the number of people you're employing. How many people are likely to use the CRM? Like for example, if you have just 5 sales representatives, then you need a pretty much small CRM. But if you want to manage, let's say 500 salespeople, then I would suggest you should look for a bigger CRM. So the level of spend is linked to your usage. Like I said, you could have a Maruti coming in at 5 lakhs or 6 lakhs, and you could have Mercedes-Benz coming in at 80 lakhs or 1 crore. So the market segment is huge when you talk of CRM. So I would say maybe you should do one quick check in terms of what is your appetite, how many users are going to use, and yes, definitely you will find answers. And still have questions, we can take it offline. You can call me and or Mr. Muthu, and we'll be able to help you on that.
Yes, Srini, just to add to what you said, since he's asking about investment, I think we also need to emphasize that most of the CRMs today are cloud-based and subscription models, and hence there is no one-time investment. It is no more on the premise solution. So it's all cloud-based and subscription-based, which means you either pay monthly or yearly. So having said that, if you are looking at it's for small and growing businesses, there are many CRMs, and mostly if you're asking me, it is priced, let's say anywhere between 500 rupees, 800, 1000 rupees, 1500 rupees per user per month. So what you can do is go online, look at some of these tools and check out what are the features and facilities they provide, and vis-a-vis what is the approximate per user per year price. So that will provide a pretty much clear answer to the question.
Thank you, Muthu, for adding to what I said. So basically, CRM subscription, like Mr. Muthu said, is like your Airtel Digital TV or Tata Sky Digital TV. It's on a monthly subscription, so you can use it as long as you want. The moment you want to switch, the transition is pretty much simple. Any further questions?
Yeah, one more question is from Mr. Kabir Ahmed on how can this be used in heavy fabrication industries?
Thank you, Mr. Kabir. I just have one question saying, how can this be used? As in, you're talking of digital, connect with your customers, or are you talking of lead management? If you can just slightly elaborate on that. Mr. Kabir. So, okay, let me answer it from both the perspectives. I guess he's on mute, or I'm not able to hear him. So from lead management perspective, yes, like I said, any industry which is into selling will need a lead management application. So if you're into heavy fabrication, whatever inquiries you're getting, be it through your website, be it through the phones, or it could be emails, I think you need a robust lead management application to manage, because unless you take care of the inquiries which are coming, your chances of converting them into customers are pretty much limited. And like I said, top of the funnel is important. So yes, you will need to take care of the prospects and how quickly you respond to them. It's only then that they become customers and your revenue increases. Looking back on how digitally you could do things, I think even in your industry, I'm sure your customers are all across the globe. They're not here just in India. So you could periodically give them updates of what is happening, what is new that you're looking at, what are the changes which are happening within your organization in terms of new products that you're doing. At the end of the day, Mr. Kabir, communication is important. Let me tell you that in very simple terms. A customer does not come and buy anything from you just because of the look and feel. The customer comes and buys something for you based on the overall comfort that you're giving. And that overall comfort comes from communication, comes from creating awareness of the product, comes from giving him enough guidance to say that he is the right place, he's talking to the right people, and his interests are safe. So put yourself always in the buyer's shoes, and I'm sure you will find there are multiple things from a digital perspective that you could do specifically in the fabrication industry. Mr. Kabir.
Thank you, Srini. So there is, the another question from Aman TRY asking how they can use it in the steel industry, like TMT rods.
Sir, I think much of it is something which I have described earlier as well. I think first is before you embark on this digital journey, I think you do a SWOT analysis, find out who is your target market, find out which are the target geographies, because it's like I said, if you're not planning it out, then any digital marketing is not going to give you success. It's not going to give you immediate results. In your industry, you have to first do that SWOT analysis. Find out, is your target the small and medium business? Is it the big industries? Or is it those startups that you're targeting? Once you have done that, look at who are the competitors in the space. You understand whom are you trying to edge out today. Because unless you've done your competition analysis, just by embarking into a digital media blitz is not going to help you. So once you've done these two things, I'm sure you will find you understand what is it that you need to address, because end of the day, your product should solve a problem for the customer. So in your business, once you've done the industry classification, once you've defined who is the persona, who is the person who is buying from you, I think you should then look at how to do this digitally. Maybe, like I said, send him videos, send him whatever it takes. And then, like I told you, look at tweaking the way you're selling today. Maybe something which is irresistible for him. If you were usually selling something at some price, look at how is it that you could give that added value. I think it's pretty much specific to every industry and every business. And in case you still have questions, we'll definitely take it offline, and I will be happy to talk to you, sir.
So just to add again, even if it's a steel industry, what Srini said in the beginning of the presentation is relevant. That is, we need to bring, first of all, all leads to one place. Today, we have leads spread over in many places. We have website inquiries available as emails. We have, the expo or trade show leads available in spreadsheet. Some leads are, in somebody's phone. So we need to bring all the leads to, a common centralized one place. And then, defining clear responsibility for each lead within our sales team is the second most important thing. Third is, we need to follow up with each of the leads on a regular, fail-safe method, so that, these leads, ultimately get converted into customers. The industry research says that any prospective customers to be, turned as a customer needs at least, 8 to 9 interactions, either on phone or face-to-face or email. So we need to do that 8 or 10 interactions, without fail. So that is the, third important thing. So some of these things are, across industry, and I'm sure, for steel industry also, this would apply these, fundamentals of, sales management.
If there are no further questions, I'll pass it on to Mr. Clifford, and I would like to first thank all of you for patiently sitting through 1 hour. I'm sorry in case we have exceeded the time limit. We had slotted actually for an hour, and I just realized that it's 15 minutes past an hour. So thank you everyone for your participation. I think your questions were interesting, and that's motivating for me, because I'm happy that some of you have seen the potential of what digital marketing and digital selling means today, especially in such days when we have this coronavirus and there are restrictions. I think this is the time for you to, all of you, to go back, look at your, business model. How is it working? Like I said, feel free. Our numbers, phone numbers and contacts are available. Clifford can also help you. Please do reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to see how we can, help you in trying to improve your business. Thank you once again, and over to you, Mr. Clifford.
Thank you, sir. I kindly request our Vice Chairman to deliver the closing remarks.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, my sincere thanks to Muthukumar Ramalingam, Managing Director, Dextrosys Technology. The second, Mr. Srinivasan, Chief Growth Officer, Hello Leads. Sir, it was a wonderful lecture and it is covered from basic to the end. And I think you started saying it, don't be in the reactive mode. You start think beyond the current scenario and plan your day and plan your activities and create interest and awareness and use on signature in videos in signatures, and communication is all the more important. And from this to you've been going to explaining about Pomodoro techniques, I think may be very useful at the present time, and it will definitely mental health ரொம்ப யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன் Pomodoro technique. And at present work from home they are mentally disturbed. I think everyone can follow this Pomodoro technique. And you said about various ways to generate the lead and how do we manage the lead. I think that is what more important. And Muthukumar Ramalingam also finally said when he answering to Dr. Somu, Mr. Somu, about bringing into one forum and then delegating to others, many people, and entertainment. And these are the carry home messages. That's what I feel. And from the healthcare industry, yeah, we thought initially there is no role for digital plays for us, and now we started using a lot of digitalization in our marketing as well as in operational measures. And as you said, we started doing on daily consultation also from the Kaveri Hospital. When the healthcare sector using this much of digital, I think there is a lot of way to go, and definitely it will be very useful in reaching our customer, and many people would have been, I think this session would have been informative and useful. And thank you, sir. Once again, thank you, Mr. Srinivasan, for your excellent lecture, and Muthukumar Ramalingam for the proper coordination and conveying things in a better place. And Clifford, thank you. Once again, you have done a wonderful job. And I sincerely thank Chairman Vasudevan for organizing this event. Thank you all.